Alright everybody, welcome back. Another easy video today. Today is probably the simplest day, so if you've been getting overwhelmed, today's information is not that difficult, at least to me. Today we're just talking about the stop loss. Now obviously you got to have a stop loss if you want to have any sort of measurable risk-reward ratio. One of the things a lot of people are curious about is, should I place a stop loss and all that sort of stuff? And as we've talked about in the past, you must use one. You know, there's people out there that believe that they cannot use one and then eye the market, and those type of things are there, but mathematically speaking, a risk-reward ratio does not work unless you have all three parts: an entry, an exit, and a target. And so the stop loss is equally, if not the most important spot. And really the placement of the stop loss is going to help you a lot, because there's sometimes trades that are just inevitably going to run against you. Right when you enter the market, you're going to be in drawdown. Does not mean your trade is guaranteed to lose, but if you place your stop loss at an incorrect level, you know, it could lose prematurely and you might actually have been in a winning trade, but because of the way you were setting your stop loss, you might run into trouble. And so, you know, this stop loss kind of scenario and what we're going to talk about today, I'm only going to show you a couple charts. Is all just the two different scenarios there's only two scenarios. Is the same thing as what we've been learning. So you still have to be able to measure, you still have to be able to identify origin, 1, 2, 3, you know, all of that stuff. And as we talked about in the last video, when you do you know, go through and do that, you're going to get a 1-6-1-8 ratio extension. And so this is where we mostly place our stop loss. And also I say mostly because there's some things that we'll talk about today with structure that will help you as well. And so when you place it, for sure, it's going to always be placed at least below the 1-6-1-8 extension. And so remember that if structure is near, you're going to place it below structure. And so if I were to draw this, let's say you had a market that looked something like this, and this is your three-leg back. You're looking to enter here, and your 1-6-1-8 was here. This is your 1-6-1-8. As weird as that looks to draw, this is your 100 level. So this is your entry. This is your stop loss, right? This level here, notice it's very close to this structure. So instead of putting your stop at the 1-6-1-8, you'd make sure that it's below the structure level, because of course when the structure is invalidated, that's when the market sequence changes. If just a 1-6-1-8 gets hit, the market sequence doesn't always change. So we'll go over an example of that in a minute, but I just want to make that clear. And so also remember that the 1-6-1-8 is also a key rejection area. And so oftentimes you have to pay close attention, because if it's near a 1-6-1-8 with some confluence, maybe that will be an adjusted entry and your stop will be a little bit different than that even. So it's you know, one of those things where you have to be able to adapt and get ready. And so moving over to a chart now, I'm only going to show you one chart here and then we'll go to MetaTrader 4. Same chart as you guys saw. Origin, 1, 2, 3 is here at the 100 level. This is your PRZ. As you can see here, it's automatic. Here's the placement of the FE or Fibonacci extension 1-6-1-8 level. And what do you notice? I put my stop loss right there, right below that 1-6-1-8. It's as simple as that. You're always going to be doing that. And so there's not really much deviation going to be going on. You're not going to deviate much from that, and you're not going to deviate any further from that. Always have your stop loss 1-6-1-8. And the only other segment is in structure. So this is just an example of where you'll be placing your stop loss level. Right below that 1-6-1-8, very simple. Once again, today's video is short, sweet, to the point. But let's go over and look at the structure. Let's go over and look at the structure and take a look at that as well. So now that I'm back over here, here's a great example of structure. So I've talked about this exact pair multiple times inside the course. And so you can see this is a bearish market here. We're getting that origin to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. We're entering off the 100 level. If you see here, let me show you guys. If I measure this, 100 level, perfect, right? The pending is perfectly on the 100 level. So that's set, and you guys just learned that. You know that. But from what I just taught you, wouldn't you want to place your stops right at the 1-6-1-8 or right above it? Yes, most of the time The issue with this one is when I looked left, I found structure right here. So as you can see, what I did was I placed my stop at that structure level, because then if the market comes up into this zone and hits the 1618 and rejects, I'll still be okay. If the market decides to come up into the zone and continue higher, break these highs, then I know that this market is going to continue bullish, that this market will be bullish. So I'm utilizing the highs as an if-then statement. If that high is broken, then the market's just going to continue to be in bullish. And so these retracements are amazing, amazing zones, but you have to be able to utilize them. So make sure that when you're setting your stop level, you're doing it in a smart way. If we go to pound yen, you know, I'm going to delete all this now. We've really been through a lot of this here now. This is our origin. This is 1. This is 2. Okay. If we were to enter off of this, we now know entry, stop at 1618. Entry at 100, stop at 1618. But we always have to take a look left. And when I take a look left, check this out. 1618 is below some structure. I just want to make sure that I'm never just cutting through any structure. I don't want to deviate from 1618 too much, meaning I don't want to have it here and then say, well, I better put it below this. That really, you're becoming obsolete. You're becoming a little too conservative. You want to make sure that every single time you find that 1618 level and you look left, make sure that line is not cutting through any obvious structure levels. As I notice, I'm below all of these. So that's giving me a chance for this market to swing, swing, swing again, and then it higher, but it also gives me room for it to head deeper into these zones. Okay? So as you can see, the stop loss level is not necessarily a very difficult segment, probably the easiest that we've had so far. But with that being said, make sure that you take advantage of the structure and you're always placing your stop loss levels below structure. Finally, my last point of the day. If you measure, and on this chart it will probably be difficult to do, but I'm going to replicate it. Let's say, for instance, that this chart here had, you know, the market was much more shallow. We're going to say this, for instance. The market was much more shallow, or actually, we'll say the market was much deeper. So let me draw this for you. If the market was much deeper, say the market did something like this. Okay, and I have to measure that. If I measure this, if at any point in time your 1618 comes below, and this is very, very, very drastic, that's why I'm kind of being careful here. But if it was something like this, where when you draw it, your 1618 comes below your structure levels, you don't have to put your stop at the 1618 if you don't want. Because we know in this gap below the structure that if it breaks, it's invalidating the structure. And so you can always utilize the structure as your stop in that case and come above the 1618. And you'll see me do that in the live room. Okay, so that's your only 3 scenarios. Perfect scenario is just if everything lines up, you're at the 1618. Scenario 2 is if you come into a headspace basically where it's near, but you want to put your stops below structure. And scenario 3 is 1618 is below structure, and you can put your stops actually above the 1618, just below wherever the structure was. So there's 3 scenarios there, and every trade's going to have a stop loss. So you want to make sure that you get in the habit of doing that and taking advantage of that. Okay. So once again, like I said, this is probably the easiest video, other than like the recap videos that we'll have at the end. But as you can see, these are getting shorter, more sweet, to the point, more pinpointed. We've gotten the information we need. It's time to really start to execute and trade. So we're going to get into getting risk-free. We're going to get into targeting, internal versus external, golden zone, all coming up in the next couple of days. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys back in tomorrow's video.